Hi guys, Mr. Brooks here. Again, just thought I'd make a video around uh, Google applications that could be useful in this coming school year. We know that distance learning might be still a possibility for some of us, and so with that being said, I just wanted to give you a quick tool that you could use to help with possibly getting things ready for the next school year. So one of the ones that I wanted to show you today is how to do appointments with Google Calendar. So I'm going to go up here to the waffle. I call it the 9 grid because there's 9 squares. So I'm going to click on this here. It's the Google Apps. Click on it. And I'm going to go down here to my calendar. And when that happens, it will take me to Google Calendar. One of the great things about Google Calendar is obviously you can create events, and there's a multitude of things that Google Calendar allows you to do, and it's a pretty easy interface. One of the things I want to teach you today is how to do appointments. So I know this is something my school district allows us to do because we have the G Suite bundle with Google. If your district or charter doesn't have it, is definitely something that you might want to look into and talk to administration about. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create here. And when I create, I'm going to go ahead and click on appointment slots. You see here you have event or out of office, and these are our typical things if we want to make little notes to ourselves about what we have to do throughout the day. But as teachers, we know that we have parent-teacher conferences. Sometimes we have to make appointments with parents or with administration. So appointment slots is great, especially around student-led conferences, and especially in the era we live in right now. This might not be an option for face-to-face meets, so we can possibly do Google Meet options later down the road, and I will show you how that works in another video. So I'm going to title this Check-In with Mr. Brooks for 8th grade. And this is going to be for my middle school students from 7th grade who are going to be in 8th grade next year. And I want to make some appointment slots with them and their families for the next coming school year. So that way I can check in with them the week before our scheduled time for school starting and kind of give them some information about what's going on. So for us in Stockton Unified, we will be possibly starting in early August, but we don't know. But I do want to check in with parents prior to the school year starting. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up for July 27th for right now. And I'm going to set my appointment slot times for 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So for 2 hours. And the duration, I'm going to go ahead and let the duration be for about 10 minutes. So that's 6 slots an hour times 2 hours. That's 12 slots for parents to meet with me and students to meet with me about the incoming school year. So for now, I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to go ahead and go to more options so I can kind of build this out. So add location, we won't be coming to school, so I'm going to say something very sassy or sarcastic and be your house. And just because that's probably realistically what will happen, it will be through a Google Meet. So in the description here, you could type anything. I'm just going to say, hello students. This is a appointment email to select a time to meet with me prior to school starting to get you and your family information about the upcoming school year. So something that is really neat too is you have your Google Keep over here. You also have tasks. So if I wanted to add something as far as a set list of things that my principal would like me to talk to my students and families about, if this were to happen, I could actually add information there. So right now I'm going back to the date here because I don't want to segue too much from the point of this video. So right now I just have one day from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock, with 12 with slots for durations, so 10 minutes each. And so that gives me approximately 12 appointments for 33 students. Clearly, that's not going to be enough for enough slots or enough appointments for me to meet with all my students. So clearly, I'm going to have to find a way to make sure that I accommodate all my parents. So I planned on doing this for a week. So I want to make sure that I come down here, and I'm going to come down to where it says custom. So I'm going to click on where it says meet on. So I'm not going to meet on Sunday, but I am going to meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week. So when does it end? Well, it's going to have to end sometime. I definitely do not want to keep this going every day forever. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this button here where it says on, and I'm going to go ahead and click on a date. So I don't want to end this in October. I definitely want to end this a lot sooner. So the day it will end will be actually on July 31st. So I have my date set. And now what will happen is this event will happen every day until the July 31st deadline. So once that is done, then July 31st, we're good to go. So with that being said, how do I get this all to my students so that way they can actually book these appointments so they can meet and talk with me? Great question. So over here, I have this little section called guests. Now I can sit here and I can type every single student's name that I'm going to have to meet with. That's going to take a long time. So an easy trick to maximize your time and to make this a lot less painful, I'm going to go ahead and take this student off, is I'm going to go back up to my 9 grid and I'm going to click on apps and I'm going to go ahead and open up my Google Classroom. So Google's great about opening new tabs for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my 7th grade class this year, which is going to be my 6th period class. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that class. And I'm going to go ahead and go to people. So you want to click on people. And what will happen is you have your teachers who are here. And then I have all my students who are here in Google Classroom. Now, what's great about this option and makes life a lot easier is if you click the select all button, it will select all your students and you come over to here to actions. So I'm going to go ahead and go to actions and I'm going to click on actions and I'm going to click email. So what's great about Gmail and all these Google applications working really well together is what will now happen is now I have all my students' email addresses in a blind carbon copy, but the best part is I have access to all my students' emails. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of those. That's a Control A or a Command A, depending on what device you're working on. I'm on a Mac, so it's going to be a Command A. If you're in a PC, you're going to hit Control A. From there, I'm going to copy, so Command C for a Mac, Control C for a PC. So I have all my emails copied, and I'm going to come back to my calendar, and where it says add guests, I'm going to go ahead and paste all those in. So Command V for Mac, Control V for PC, and now I have all their names in. So once I hit enter, all my students' emails are now populated as guests. So that saved me about a half hour's worth of time typing every single student's name out. So now that I have my guests, I have my time slots, everything's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, it says, would you like to send an invitation email to the Google Calendar guests? I just got out of school. I know my students are not going to be looking at their emails at all. So I'm not going to send this right now to them. So I'm going to say don't send. So now if I come down to my calendar here, look at that. I have my appointments all booked for that last week of July. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Tuesday just to make sure that it worked for Tuesday. And look at that. I have Tuesday, July 28th, 2 to 4 o'clock, 10-minute appointment slots. Perfect. This is great. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Go to Appointment page for this calendar. So what the students will see is this page. And what will happen is if you go to here, right now you don't see any appointments. Well, if you look right here where the dates are, you won't see them because this is still May. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Look for Appointment Slots further ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it says next available appointment slot is July 27th, 2020, which is the starting date of this event. So I'm going to click on that. And as you can see, I have all my appointments here listed and available for all my students. Now, this is kind of hard to read, so instead, I'm going to go ahead and click on this is the week view. I'm going to click on the day view. So on Monday, I have all these appointments booked, or sorry, all these appointments here. And if I scroll to the right a little bit, I can see that these are all the appointments I have for this time. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh just to see if it cleans it up a little bit. So I'm going to look at this slot right here, and this says 2 to 2:10. Well, I don't know if that's going to work for me, so I might slide over here. Oh, 2:10 to 2:20. Okay, well, maybe that doesn't work. I have 2:20 to 2:30. So as you can see, each row as you go down, it increases by 10 minutes, which is exactly what I wanted for it to do, which is perfect. So from there, I can go ahead and click on one of these and see what it says. So this is what my students and their families would see, and it says check in with Mr. Brooks for 8th grade. Andrew Brooks is who I am. And who am they checking in with? They're checking in with me. And if you look right here, the time slot is 2 to 2:10. Perfect. And then where? Your house. Perfect. So that's exactly what I would like it to say. So again, my message is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. So now that appointment is booked. So just to make sure I can see it in my calendar, I'm going to go back to the view calendar. And what's great about that is if I scroll down, oh, look at that. I have an appointment with myself on July 27th from 2 to 2:10 at my house. Perfect. That is great. So with that being said, this is a simple yet effective way to help communicate with your parents and also to book options as far as how you would like to check in with students. Again, this would work great for back to school, especially with all this social distancing and possibly distance learning maybe continuing in the fall. Also, it's a great way to do a phone conference with parents. We can easily then set up with parents a phone conference. If you're a little more techie, later on I can show you how to do a Google Meet using this particular appointment slot app on the Google Calendar, and how you can now edit this to add a Google Meet if you so choose. So again, I hope this was helpful today, guys. Another question before I go might be, well, how if we created the appointments but we didn't email it out to the students, how can we do that? Great question. So go back up to your appointments. These are your appointments. The squares are letting you know those are your appointment blocks. You're going to click on that. And over here where it says mail, you're going to hit email guests. And again, what's great about that is then you can email all your guests. There's all my students, which is great. Okay, so I can email them all at once. And it says check in with Mr. Brooks. I can type a little message here about what I want to say to them. This is going to be a check-in over Google Meet or a phone conference about the start of the school year. So this again will be great. Again, checking my mistakes. Again, this is nowhere the means of being perfect. I'm nowhere perfect, so I'm glad that you guys are seeing those mistakes. Grammarly, shout out, thank you very much. So then I can send these all to my students. If you need to add some people, maybe you need to add your administration, and you can continue to do that as well. So there you go. And this will be sent to their emails again, which is great. So there you go. So again, I don't want to do this right now, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel it. Discard. But this is Google Calendar and how to make appointments with Google Calendar. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, if you thought this was helpful and thorough, and it might help fellow educators, please click the like button, and then also please share it with your fellow educator friends and share my YouTube channel. Again, this is about us as educators being the best for kids and best for students. So thank you for your time, and thanks for enjoying my video.